Welcome back, everybody. I'm Rachel.
I'm Hannah.
And this is the You Talkin' to Me podcast. All right, started that off with a banger. Sorry if you had to lower the volume on your headphones. So this week we are doing 2 episodes, one from 2 different shows. The first one will be Schitt's Creek, and the second one will be Queer Eye, the new version. Hannah, do you have our recap or synopsis of Schitt's Creek?
I do. Here we go. In episode 1, we meet Johnny, Moira, David, and Alexis. Their family is going through financial issues and have to move from their elaborately luxurious mansion to a town Johnny bought as a joke for David many years ago. The town is in the middle of nowhere and they must stay in a motel. The motel does not have many amenities and no one is handling the situation well. Alexis thinks that her boyfriend will come get her, but he ends up dumping her for the 5th time. The family keeps arguing, but is doing the best they can to not give up hope about their current situation. That's that, people.
Wow, that was very neutral because we warned you last week. We have opinions on both of these shows. Very strong in very opposite directions. And we will stop holding back in exactly 3, 2, 1.
Hated it.
Worst show ever.
Hate it. Like, sorry to anyone who loves it, who likes it. Maybe if we watched like the last season, we would think differently. But this episode, I can't. Spoiler, we tried to watch it, or I tried to watch it before we decided we were going to watch it for the pod, and I couldn't make it through the episode. And then even watching it for the episode, I think it took me 4 or 5 times to make it through a how many minute
Like 30
long
minutes
episode?
or
It might be
less.
yeah. So that's pretty terrible.
Well, here's something that I want to propose for a future podcast. Let us know if you'd be interested in this, y'all, is all of the shows that we accumulate and watch over these seasons, because we might have some more coming up for this season. I'm not sure. But something that could be fun is like going back and watching maybe one full season of a show that we reviewed to see if it changes our opinion of it. And maybe that would happen with Schitt's Creek. But right now, when I tell you that I did not laugh one time. I almost laughed at the end with the very last line when she was like, let's pray none of us wake up in the morning or something. It was such a low bar like joke though that I probably could have written that. Not that I'm like not funny, but I'm still like so new when it comes to screenwriting. Like I literally just graduated. That would be like the first joke I would pitch. And then yeah, it's funny the way it is, but you always want to punch up or like go for the joke that maybe not everyone would think of that would make it unique and interesting and actually funny. Ugh.
True. And yeah, I thought that, like, I know from experience of watching things with Rachel and just like both of us watching things and discussing them, that she laughs more easily than I do. I just know that. And so I thought, well, maybe, Rachel would think this was better than me, and maybe she found this at all even slightly humorous. But when she said she didn't laugh, I was like, okay, yeah, it's just garbage. I was like, I don't know what it is with this episode, but it's so bad. I really, truly don't like to be mean about things, and so I'm trying to think of a redeeming quality for the episode, and the only thing coming to mind is that it was short.
Oh my god. That was kill shot right there. Okay, here I can think of some reasons why it was bad. There was like hardly any background music, and so it made it really awkward when no one was laughing, including myself. like, to the jokes. There were jokes. You could kind of tell where they were trying to put them, but they did not land. Like, there were some really weird setups to things that just didn't hit. And here's why I think, so they are trying, it's a situational comedy. This is like, the situation is funny, or supposed to be, okay? But here's why I don't think it works. None of the people are either relatable or likable in this pilot, okay? I legit have seen maybe one other scene from this show, and it's the one where the Dan Levy character is trying to explain what pansexual means. Okay, that's the only other scene I have ever watched from this show. And it's not funny either, but it's not supposed to be a funny scene, really. It's like supposed to be educational, whatever. This show has such unrelatable, unlikable characters that it makes everything annoying, and everything makes me want to like punch them in the face for trying to be funny. Like, I know something that Hannah hates is the wig comment, right? Where she's like names her wigs or something, and it's like, no, they can't be in the same suitcase together, because at the very beginning of the film, they like get raided by the FBI or someone, I don't know, someone coming to like take away all their possessions, and they can basically, they're trying to grab whatever they can reach to take with them before they lose their whole house. And they're trying to make just funny comments, but it's like uncomfortable because of how unfunny it is. Like, I need to be able to either relate to someone, even if they're unlikable, I should be able to relate to something that they're saying. But they're so obnoxiously rich, obnoxiously spoiled, obnoxiously pretentious, that us common people down here in middle class, or me below, just like singly on my own, I'm below the middle class because I can't afford like insurance or whatever, don't relate, can't understand what they're going through. Hannah, what do you think?
No, I agree. And I wrote down, to me, they all just complained and whined a whole lot, and I don't find that to be entertaining. And thinking about it now, it honestly reminds me of like a toddler throwing a tantrum, is kind of how they are. And it's one thing if you have a 2-year-old acting like this, like, yeah, they don't friggin' have the life experience to know better, to like not be so. And I'm not saying like if I were right now to have someone come in my house and take everything from me that I wouldn't complain, but their characters are just so unrelatable and unlikable that I just they're annoying. And the voices, all of their voices, I don't know if they're trying to sound terrible. I think that I've heard a clip from a later episode and their voices sound like somewhat different, but I don't know. It's like, oh man, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. There's just something about this, and I wanted to like it. I really wanted to like it. I've heard from so many people that it's so good, it's so funny, and I don't know if, I mean, Netflix rating for me was not a match, and I agree with that. They told me I wouldn't like it, and they were not wrong.
I had such high expectations. I even tried to go in with no expectations, but I was like, I'm gonna like it. I know Hannah said she didn't like it because she like had told me that she was not really a fan of this the first time she tried to watch it. But I went into it being like, this is gonna be funny. My parents love it. Everyone apparently loves it. It won a ton of Emmys and stuff. It's a huge hit. It has multiple seasons. It must be good. I was literally flabbergasted by how weird it was, how stupid, how much I just like, I literally checked the clock like I don't know how many times to be like, is this almost over, please? I didn't realize I hadn't laughed until I checked the clock the first time, and I was halfway through and I was like, oh crap, I literally, nothing has come out of my throat yet. I haven't even went like, I didn't even like do that, how you kind of do by yourself when you read a meme or like something funny on social media. Like, I didn't even do that. And like Hannah said, I'm an easy laugh. And none of it was like sexual humor that I'm just uncomfortable with. Nothing was like dirty or gross or anything like that. I mean, there's some like weird gross humor about like the guy pooping in the hotel. But like if that was the only time that it was like kind of gross. Otherwise everything else was like just was normal for them. And it just nothing landed. Nothing landed. I don't know how anyone got past the pilot, if they're just stronger than we are, but I can't stand shows that are like, oh, you just have to get past the first season and it's good. No, make it good from the beginning and I'll watch it. Like, it's not that
What
hard.
I want to know, oh, sorry,
No, go.
but what I want to know is how come when that scene happened, it wasn't friggin' funny at all, but when you just described it the way you describe it, I was laughing at the guy pooping. Why? So see, like it had the potential to be funny, but the way it was and the way it was acted out, it didn't hit. It was not good.
It was the setup for it. Okay.
Yeah.
So the motel owner, maintenance, no, it's the mayor. It's the mayor.
The mayor.
Ugh. Anyway, okay. The mayor is the worst character, honestly. Like, I
Ugh.
hate Alexis, but I hate the mayor more because with Alexis, I can see what they're trying to do. Oh, she's a snotty, unaware rich girl who thinks her boyfriend loves her. Okay, I can see that as potentially being funny somewhere in the universe. I don't know where. This mayor will never be funny to me. This character, he's like really redneck, right? He's kind of creepy. He like has no boundaries basically and like is very revenge-y, right?
Uh, yeah, no boundaries to the point where he takes the freaking doors off of their motel rooms. Sorry, it's not a hotel, the motel rooms, because they made him get out of their room.
Yeah, so they set it up to where he shows up and is like, "Welcome to your room. I hope that you're settling in okay." And then he just like stays there for like a while, like watches TV, right? Like in between them, I think, on the bed. And they're like super uncomfortable. And then he's like, "I need to go take a dump," basically. And like takes a crap in their hotel room. And it's like, I don't get it. Like, it just like could have been funny if he just like if they set him up as no boundaries in a different way. Like, hi, like barges in without knocking. Oh, hey guys, how you like your room? I hope it's wonderful. Maybe he digs through their drawers a little bit and is like, oh, thank God, like I needed a nice shirt for some event. And then goes and takes a dump in their room. Make it quick. That's the thing. You need to be quick. Like, enter late to a scene, exit early is the biggest thing that I have been taught in screenwriting is don't start the scene at the beginning of the scene because it ends up being like 2 pages too long.
I agree. It was way too long. The whole episode just felt like it was drug on forever. And maybe, like we said, that maybe the second episode would be better, but why do you watch something where that's the quality of the first episode? What would be the redeeming quality that would make you want to watch the second episode to see if it changed? Like, it was so bad that it was just so bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up and see if it was on TV or if it was just straight to Netflix real quick.
Well, I'm like, how long ago was this? Was there a different writer for the first episode? How did it have so many seasons? Because weren't there like 6 or 8 seasons? Like
I
there
think it's
was
like 6 or 7, yeah, 6 seasons.
like that's a lot of seasons to have if that first episode was what it was. And the fact that people watched after that first episode is honestly astonishing. And once again, like we don't want to be just like dragging a show to drag a show, but
But it's
I didn't need to spend my life watching that show. Those are those minutes of my life I will never get back, you know?
okay, so it was on Canadian television before.
Okay.
So it was on TV. It was sold to CBC television in Canada and secured final funding to start production in its sale to Pop TV in the United States, where it began or debuted on February 11th in 2015. Um, and then it like appeared on Netflix after its third season. So, okay, so that changes everything for me because if it was just on Netflix, I could kind of see how you would watch the next episode because it's right there, right? On Netflix, they don't do episode by episode, they do whole seasons at once. So I could have seen if maybe it
Most of the
was
time.
for most like regular series TV shows, like they just throw the whole season up or at least half the season up after it's done, like on TV. And like I said, if this was just a Netflix show and they put the first season up, I can understand why you would watch the second episode because it's right there. Netflix is already about to play it for you. You don't even got to click a button. It's coming up in 5 seconds. But it was on TV. Like you have to wait a week to watch the second episode. I'm not coming back. I'm not spending my time here. I don't care if literally nothing else is on TV. I've got a book to read. I've got I've got TikTok now. Like I've got anything else to do. I've got to unload my dishwasher. I will do anything else. This would not make me want to watch the next episode at all. That's like with people with The Office. Oh, skip the first season. Why? Why didn't they just make it good? I understand you don't know if it's going to be good, but like how did it get picked up for another season? I'm glad it did. Everyone loves it. But like I know how hard it is to write something good because I've written a bunch of crappy things. Okay, no one has laughed at plenty of things that I've shared in class. And you know what? You just tough it out and cry when you log out of class. But um I just am like I have a hard time watching this.
No, I completely agree. Um, what do you think would make it so it's funny, or how could we rework this that it would actually be funny? And
Yeah,
honestly, I think you need your expertise here more than mine because you're the writer here, hun.
yeah, let's jump into the segment. Making something better. So first things first, put in a joke or two.
That are good.
That makes sense. Because here's the thing. One of the jokes was literally, "Oh, I bought you a town a couple of years ago as a joke." I don't understand that. That's not a funny joke. But you have enough money to buy a town? I don't know. Something to make it funny. We need a character. I know it's satire. I understand. But we need a character that seems like the straight man, like very normal. We need a normal character. And I think they were trying to do that with the motel lady, but even she was like really weird. Like out there is just like deadpan, like doesn't understand what they're talking about, doesn't care about them. Like we need a normal person, maybe even in the family. They can still be obnoxiously rich, obviously, but we need someone who isn't over the top, dramatic about things that none of us care about. And I think that's what they were trying to say is like, oh, these overly rich people are so funny with their funny problems. And it's like, it's not funny though, because it's just annoying about how rich they are and how much they like, I don't even know, like everything about them. They tried to make it funny. But I'm like struggling to remember some of the specifics in the episode right now.
It's because our brains just blacked them out because they weren't good enough to
Yeah,
remember.
it equated it to a traumatic experience, and the brain wants to like delete all pain that you've gone through so you can't feel it again. That's what this was, a blur of pain.
Or like even if okay, so they show up to this motel in this giant bus. It'd be like a bus that a school trip would use maybe, but probably more than that, like a college sports team would use. Like it's a fancy big bus. Why couldn't they have been forced to like live in that or something? You know, like I feel like even that would be funnier.
Yeah, and why do they so here's the thing is like I think part of it is like so they now own the town. So they're basically going to be like royalty of this town. They're not treated like it right now because the mayor is so weird, but it's like they're still about to be put in the upper position here. eventually is what I'm guessing. Like they're gonna like create the events, they're in charge of like expansion. I'm sure they're in charge of a bunch of stuff now that they own the town. Like why? Yeah, that's a good idea. Put them somewhere where they're literally rock bottom, like they are forced to be put in a camper. Like maybe one of their uncles is someone who lives in the woods, right? And so he has a free camper that he can loan to them. And they all 4 or 5 of them, I don't know, there's 4 of them, right? They are forced to live in a teeny tiny trailer camper, and it just
With an
happens
outhouse.
to be next to this really weird town,
Yeah.
right? Why do they have to own the town for that to be funny? That's funnier because they're in a motel. Okay, sure, but they get their own room. Like the parents get their own rooms and the kids get their own room together, but
They have
like
their own beds. They have working plumbing, and they do have some amenities, you know. But then like also
electricity.
one of the jokes is that they go to this diner or restaurant. I'm not sure which one it would be called, but it's supposed to be a joke that the menus are sticky or something like that. And it's like, okay, are you just so high class you've never been somewhere where there's a sticky thing on a menu? Like,
Probably not. I mean
it's not funny.
that
It's
makes
just not funny.
sense, but it is like painful to watch them try to be like, oh, let's put sticky menus, are like that would be funny if rich people had to deal with that. Why? Why is that funny? Like it's just showing how out of touch like rich people are with the real world, which doesn't make me laugh. It just reminds me that this world is run by people who don't understand the people that they're like representing or the people that they're employing. And it just further puts that into perspective and makes it true. And it's not comedic to me. And I know that's probably what they're trying to do, put that into perspective, but they're doing it in a way that just makes me want to cry.
Right. Like to me, it's funnier if you watch a poor person go to like some really fancy place and they accidentally eat the hand wipe for the beginning because they think it's like some fancy hors d'oeuvre, you know, but do it the other way around. Maybe it's just because we're so detached from that lifestyle. Like we don't live that 1% lifestyle. So how could we possibly? But even I've seen things where there's rich people. So there's a show on Netflix called Oh, I'm just gonna say Crazy Rich Asians. I think the director of that, or it's supposed to be Crazy Rich Asians, but in a real life way. It's called Bling Dynasty. It's about this it is Asians who live in California and just like their lavish lifestyle and how this one girl and her ex-husband used to spend $500,000 every month on a credit card every month. And someone was like, "How do you spend that much money?" And she's like, "Oh, I can show you how." And you know, they were showing their lives, but the way that that was portrayed, it was funny and it was real, and I didn't feel like, "Oh my gosh, that's so like they're trying to be something." They just like didn't even understand how like someone could live a cheaper lifestyle, okay? And I feel like this could have done that.
Here's another thing, sticky menu thing, having to stay in a motel, like all of these things, that's not what poor people do. Like poor people, some of them do live in motels, like whatever, because they can't afford rent or whatever. Some of them have to go in motels, but everyone gets one motel room. They all have to stay in the same one. Um, if they get a motel room. Also, they don't eat out at restaurants. Um, so that's like something I do. I've been to a Waffle House. I've dealt with a sticky menu. I've been to Denny's. I've been literally, all of these places are for like the middle class people or like lower middle class, like anything. If you are like in poverty, all of your money has been stripped from you except for the fact that you own a town. One, where are you getting this money for buying this stuff? And two, that is not what poor people do. They, even the writers who are trying to be satirical, don't understand what it's like to be poor. I don't understand what it's like to be that poor, like to where I can't afford to go to a restaurant ever. Like I still can, I've paid all my rent. I've never struggled in that way. My jobs have always lined up in a way that I have had money and food. I couldn't write poor people either. but I'm not going to pretend that, oh, they went to a restaurant that didn't have cloth napkins. Oh my God, that's such a struggle. Like, girl. It was like embarrassing, I think, was a
Yeah.
big feeling that I had watching this. Like, this is cringeworthy and embarrassing.
Sorry, I just looked at a text from my brother. It popped up, and I had to make sure it wasn't something work related because we work together, and it wasn't. And what he said was he's an interesting person. That's all I have to say. But how come something like that? See, I can laugh at things, okay? So it's just that this episode was not good. But I think that that is all the bashing we should be doing for today.
Yeah, because
Maybe in the future, if you guys want us to, we will try to watch the whole season and see if our mind changes about it. But at the moment, one episode was too much.
yeah, or we'll watch whatever you guys think the best season is. We'll look it up, we'll get your suggestions, but I'm not watching this on my own time. I'm not about to
No.
spend one more half hour devoted to the Levy family. I'm so sorry.
So, to switch our mode of hate to love, I suppose, I'll give you the recap of Queer Eye. Queer Eye is a remake of A Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, which came out in 2003. This version of the show started in 2018 and is created by Netflix. This show follows the Fab Five: Jonathan, Bobby, Karomo, Tan, and Anthony. The Fab Five are in charge of different areas of life to help out people in need. During the first episode of season 1, they go to Dallas, Georgia, and help out a man named Tom. Tom was nominated by his daughter because he seems to have lost his way in life. He is stuck in his old habits and is lonely, but wants to find a woman to spend his life with. Tom isn't very confident in himself or the way he looks. Over the course of the week that they are together, the Fab Five help Tom see himself in a new light and gain the confidence he needs to ask the girl he wants to spend his life with to his car show. And that is our recap. Oh, and disclaimer before we jump into this episode. When we're talking about Jonathan, Jonathan's pronouns are he, she, and they. So at any point, we can refer to Jonathan as any of those pronouns.
All right. I love this show so much. Oh my gosh, I have spent time watching this show outside of my like for not just the podcast because I love it. It's so heartwarming. It's so funny. It's so wonderful. It's literally everything opposite of Schitt's Creek because I also laughed a frick ton at these people because they're so funny. Everything about the show is perfect, and I don't think I'd change a single thing except maybe make it longer and last forever.
Agreed, agreed. It's so good. And currently, they're actually filming season, I think it's 5 in Texas. So that's interesting to see what will come up in season 5. But yeah, this episode was so good. Tom is the cutest. Okay. Oh my God, he's so cute. He's so cute. Like, you need to watch this episode to just see how cute of a person this Tom is. Oh,
They could not have picked a more perfect person to be episode number 1 because the next, I've only watched probably like 6 more episodes so far at this point, but I have not loved anyone as much as I love Tom Jackson. I want him to be my father. I want him to be my best friend. I don't know how far away Dallas, Georgia is from Savannah, but I will go find him and be his best friend because he's lovely. He's happy. He is just a joyful, warm, kind human being. And I hope that he lives happily ever after with whomever he wants. He deserves it. He deserves it. He deserves all the happiness in the world. He's one of the good people.
yes, he is. He's so cute. And who he actually ends up inviting to the car show is his ex. But is it his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend? I can't remember. I think it's ex-wife.
Wife, I think. Wife, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's his ex-wife. And she's like so impressed with how he changed. And oh my gosh, like I don't think we're doing it justice. Like, even though we're saying we love it so much, like, it's so good. It's so cute. It's this lighthearted thing that makes you kind of believe in humanity again, and that people are kind and caring and can actually care about people. And there's not just like all these big, ugly, gross people in the world that think that life is the worst thing ever and everything is bad. This show gives you hope.
And so this whole season, I believe, and maybe multiple other seasons after this, take place in Georgia, which right now it's a blue state, but not historically always. I mean, we still have a Republican governor who is a piece of work, but that's okay. We're not here to talk about him. But a lot of these, I mean, it's about to take place in Texas. I mean, they go to mostly Republican places, I feel like, and bring their flavor into it and show people that it's okay to have people different from you. It's also okay to express yourself in ways like you don't have to be the guy that wears khaki shorts every single day. You don't have to wear cargo shorts. You don't have to like care. You should care about your skin. You should care about your hair. It doesn't make you one way or another. Like these makeovers are to make you confident. It doesn't make you gay. You know, like I feel like that's a big thing that like straight guys have 3-in-1 shampoo. What are all of those for? You mean to tell me this one bottle is for everything? No, I'm not about to buy that. Like I just recently got my boyfriend to use shampoo and conditioner to like, and it's changed his whole shower experience. He said he loves it. And I just think like the little changes, I mean, they do make little changes in the show, which I love. I mean, we'll get to that closer to the end, but this show is just so good because it's not an unrealistic show either. Like I love just the way that they come in and bring betterness to these people's lives in an attainable way. And it's just literally, I had no idea really what to expect. Like I knew it was just a bunch of gay guys coming to remodel and like make over straight guys, well, straight people. Like there's no, it's not even just straight people. There's a gay guy in one of the episodes I just watched. People who are just not aware of their appearance very much. And like it's very good. I don't know how they made it so good. It's just perfect.
It is very perfect. And you did say gay guys, and I think for Jonathan's sake, we should say gay people. It's just a group of gay guys. Oh, I said it now too. My goodness, sorry. This is us needing to apologize. It's a group of gay people that are helping out all different walks of life of people. There's men, women, gay, straight, probably more religious, less religious. Um, different skin tones, and they just show that like this group of people can help other people, and sometimes all it takes is some people uplifting you to really find the courage to be yourself. Maybe I kind of think is part of it, and not that you have to have other people encourage you to be yourself, but I think it's probably easier sometimes if you have that group of people just supporting you and encouraging you. You know, you think about life and how no one really wants to go through life alone. Like you want your group of people. Well, these people are trying to be that group of people for the people on the show. That was a lot of the word people, but I hope my point was uh made there.
Yeah, we're just gonna be repeating a lot of stuff because we love it so much. The word amazing, the word perfect, the word heartwarming. These things are just cute. They're all gonna come out of our mouth probably 3,000 times, as well as people. Apparently, that's Hannah's word too. So, just from the beginning, so I loved the intro because it briefly explained the old Queer Eye, like the original version, a little briefly. And I like that because I've never seen it. And I'm guessing probably a lot of people our generation have not seen it, but this is very popular with people our age. It's popular with like literally everybody, but people Hannah and my age, it's probably not likely that we've seen the original version, but it is out there somewhere. I don't know where, but I'm just glad that they kind of explained it a little bit. And then I also liked that each person has a different expertise. You know, we've got
Yes.
hair and skin was Jonathan. We've got clothing is Tan, I believe.
Yep.
Food is his name Anthony.
Anthony, yep.
I'm trying to remember each of them. And so like Karamo,
Karomo
like,
does culture, I think is what they describe it as, and Bobby does design.
yeah, and Karamo also does like, I don't know, like your inner self, like your confidence, your how you like look at something. I don't know. That's just how I kind of see it, as like internal, whereas a lot of the other stuff is external. And I just really like that they all have their own expertise, and it's not all just like, oh, I do clothes, I do makeup, I do hair, I do like the stereotypical things you think of with a makeover. Because if you want to remake yourself, you do need to look at your surroundings and you need to look at everything and just kind of make little changes everywhere so that it all is cohesive into who you want to be as a person.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way, I said they're filming season 5, but in my notes I actually have written currently 5 seasons, but they are confirmed for a 6th. So that means that they are filming a 6th season currently. Um, I also have written down that this show takes me on a roller coaster of emotions, because it does. And I don't know if you've seen this now with some episodes since you've watched past the first one. There are sometimes maybe where you feel angry, and sometimes where it's like you're so excited, and sometimes you're sad, or sometimes you are like dumbfounded. You can't believe this happened, or astonished. And it's like I've never experienced watching a show with so many emotions before.
Yeah, because like Schitt's Creek, it was just one. Ew. Where this one, I was like, oh my God. And then like sad when they're about to leave and like really excited again because he like asked the person out. I don't know. It's just so wonderful. And so, um, but okay, so I will say that mostly everything is very, very positive, like from the Fab Five. At the beginning, they do like spend a little bit of time like making fun of the stuff that's in the person they're making over's house. You know, oh my gosh, this chair looks like, you know, bodily fluids have been all over it. You know, like funny things like that. Or like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you, like how long has this food been in here? Like they make fun of it, but like not in a personal way. You know, they're not like, oh my gosh, you drink whole milk, is that why you're so fat? Like just something stupid like that. Like that's a real thing that one of my friends was told one time. Like that's very rude. So I just like that nothing was a personal dig. It was just like they were making fun of the things, which yes, sometimes that can feel very personal, but they were not doing anything to be personal about it. But they also didn't spend that much time on that segment, which I liked, because it's not about, you know, the stereotype of gay people being sassy and you know, critiquing and whatever this stereotype. I mean, they fit into it, like they were doing it, and it was probably very fun of them to do, but I would do that too. Like if I was in this room and I was given freedom to like trash whatever I wanted to be, like I'd be coming up with digs too that were like that. So they just spent a little bit of time on that and then moved into like the editing between the segments was so good. So I don't know if you want to talk about any of the segments that you liked particularly well in this episode, but I thought they were all really good.
Well, we can talk about whatever segment you want, but one thing I do like is at the very end of an episode, they have a QE hip tip, I think is what they call it. And then, like for this one in particular, it was about how to spice up your margarita or something, or how to make a homemade margarita. And Anthony says to put cilantro in there. And then he's like, unless you're Jonathan, because Jonathan hates cilantro. And I'm like, I've never related to a person more because cilantro is disgusting.
Same, literally the worst thing ever. So one thing that I love about Jonathan is that they have all of the resources in the world to get the fanciest face creams, the fanciest hair products. When he pulled out the box with like the stuff that they had gotten for Tom, there was like Neutrogena brand, either moisturizer, face wash, something. That is super affordable, super findable, like at any Walmart, or Target, whatever is near you. Like Dallas, Georgia cannot be that big. I've never heard of it. Probably under 100,000 people live there. I bet they have a Walmart somewhere that he can go find this Neutrogena face wash or Neutrogena sunscreen, whatever he'd gotten from Jonathan. So I love that. It's not $200 sunscreen, $200 eye cream. It's nothing fancy that he has to go to Sephora's website to order special. Tom's not going to do that. Tom will go to a Walmart when he's grocery shopping and maybe go to the skincare aisle and pick up his new face wash. I love that it was stuff Tom would use.
Dallas, Georgia has, as of 2019, a population of 13,321. So very small.
Very small. Probably has a Walmart, probably has a grocery store of some sort that would carry it, if not a town nearby would. Plus, Walmart delivers. So,
yeah. And one thing I liked about what Jonathan did for Tom too was that they gave him a green stick and showed that guys can wear something to help with their appearance too. Tom has lupus, I believe, is what it was.
yeah, something that causes a lot of redness in the face, whatever it is. I don't think it's
Yeah.
lupus, maybe it is, but it's something that just causes a lot of redness.
Jonathan just wanted to make Tom feel more comfortable, and Tom did. He felt less red, and we could see it as the audience members, and it's just like normalizing the fact that it doesn't matter who you are, what gender or lack thereof, you can put some stuff on your face to help you feel more comfortable, but you also don't have to if you don't want to. And Jonathan wasn't forcing Tom. They were just showing Tom that this is an option.
Precisely. And it's nice because it's not going to solve the problem, but it will make you feel more confident. Like you will notice the difference yourself, especially if you're used to being just like really red. And just a little green stick will go a long way. And also, it's like men can be insecure about how they look too. Like women aren't the only people that should wear makeup or can wear makeup. I mean, I'm not wearing makeup right now. Like, who gives a crap at this point? The pandemic has done me wonders. Okay. I am so confident going in public without makeup. I don't even care anymore. Like, it's just something that is nice that both genders and people without genders can wear makeup and also not wear makeup. Okay. One thing that I heard in a podcast, the You Can Sit With Me podcast, that I could not agree with more is women are kind of told that wearing makeup is professional. Like if you have like a professional job, like a lawyer or you're a businesswoman, or literally some waitressing jobs require you to wear makeup because it makes you look more presentable and it's more professional. Excuse me, I can go and be a secretary and not wear makeup. Okay, and guess what? My job doesn't get affected.
Yes, I was literally talking with my brother about this the other day. And I mean, we were talking about how different jobs might require different clothing. Like if you're an ER nurse, you're probably not wearing like what I'm wearing. You have to wear scrubs because that's part of the job. Okay. And sure, like a lawyer probably also can't wear what I'm wearing because there is a dress code, right? But I was like, makeup shouldn't be one of those things. Whether a guy wants to wear makeup or a girl doesn't want to wear makeup, it shouldn't matter for the job. Like you should have that option to do with your body what you want, because that doesn't matter. Along with if you want to dye your hair a certain color or if you get tattoos, that doesn't make you unprofessional. The way you act and the way you do your job is what would make you unprofessional, or how you treat the people around you. And speaking of podcast, wait, do you have something you want to say about that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, unless like you have the F word like on your forehead, like maybe you gotta cover that up. But like other than that, like if you've got a tattoo anywhere, even if it's on your face, guess what? Your job is not gonna be hindered because that exists.
I mean, you might not get the job you want because of that, because some people might be old-fashioned thinking still, but it doesn't affect the way, like if I am exactly who I am, but I just had a star tattooed on my face, like that doesn't make me a different person. But what I was going to say about podcast is in a Rich Roll podcast, Chroma was on, and he was talking about the process of starting the show, and I guess auditioning would be the right word for getting onto this show. And when they got down to it, it was down to 2 teams of 5 people, and they just so happened to get chosen. Like, it easily could have gone with the other 5 guys, and it went with this group of 5 people instead. And they didn't know each other before the auditions. There maybe was, I feel like though 2 of them had like met, like Karomo and maybe Jonathan had met before or something, but otherwise like they did not know each other and they didn't know how it was going to go. And the other thing he said why he thinks maybe they were chosen is because they, all 5 of them, were the only people who, if someone asked when they went out of the room, like, oh, what just happened? What went down? Like, they were honest about what happened and they were like encouraging and trying to help out other people. Whereas everyone else was just like trying to be elusive, I suppose, and not give real answers about what happened. And they weren't trying to help others out.
Which is literally the show, helping other people out. So I honestly think that's how they made it to the finals, and they probably just remembered that and picked them because they're all very sweet, they're all very nice, and even when faced with tough conversations, wasn't Bobby the one that said he and his husband like just got married or they weren't married yet or something?
Yep.
And Tom very innocently and a little ignorantly goes, "Oh, which one of you is the husband and which one of you is the wife?" And here's the thing I love, okay? Instead of being like a "I can't believe you're so dumb and you think that way" type of reaction, he just goes, "Actually, that's not how it is," and explains to Tom how that's just a stereotype that's just been like a myth basically that has perpetuated the straight world. And Tom just sits there and goes, "Oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry." I'm pretty sure he apologizes for saying that, and he goes, "Oh, that's." He just listened and took it in and wasn't like, "I don't know, you're coming at me, I'm really defensive, and now I'm like uncomfortable talking to you about this. Like, you were being very mean because you corrected me." Like, no, none of that happened. It was a very big learning moment. And I kind of want to talk about a future episode where the same thing happens. I'm not going to go too far into it, but they remodel or make over a cop, and Karamo and the cop have a very, very good conversation. It's in the first season. You only have to watch like 4 more episodes, okay? It's not that far away from this one, but it is so good. This show talks about the hard things and they both listen to each other, okay? It's not just the Fab Five are always right either. It's like, this is my side, and the other person goes, this is my side, and they listen to each other. Yes, sometimes it's forced upon them in a way that they probably shouldn't fight on camera and get mad at each other because that's not a good look. But you know what? Even if that is the case, they learned from it because they actually sat and listened. Okay, even if they didn't want to, which I don't know if that's the case. That's just me saying if. If they didn't want to listen to what the other person said, they did, maybe for the sake of the cameras, and it paid off because they actually learned the other person's side and went, wow, that's a good perspective. And that is something that I have loved about this show is they do not shy away from things that are political. They don't shy away from their real feelings, and I love it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's a very good learning lesson for people that's like, okay, put aside your ego. Sometimes you're going to be wrong, or you're going to say something that makes you feel dumb, or maybe you say something without even thinking and it's not politically correct, or you say something that's offensive to a group of people and you don't even get that you're doing it. And then you're going to be corrected, or you're going to be told that something's different than the way you thought it was. And instead of getting so angry and defensive, sit back, listen, and learn and try to do better. It doesn't mean that you'll instantly just like forget the way you were thinking, but you have to work on yourself to rework the way your brain was working. Be like, oh yeah, I see why. If I, like, for example, like Tom with the comment of who's the man, who's the wife, I mean, who's the husband, who's the wife, it's he like, take that in and be like, okay, I get why that is not correct, and it might take me a few tries to get that out of my brain because I've been thinking that way this long, but at least now I have that knowledge and I know better and I will do better next time.
Exactly. That's what I loved. And here's a hot take. I might have talked about it on this podcast, but maybe I just talk about it a lot in real life. I think that people, our generation and every generation, why on Facebook it's so hard, why we are so aggressive towards each other about our views on Facebook is because we were always taught, every generation is taught, the things you don't talk about are religion, politics, and sex, I think. I don't know what the third thing is. You don't talk about them because people have different views and people get defensive about their views. But now that we have Facebook and we're not face to face with these people, it feels less personal and we have time to think of our responses. And if we're emotional and say something really mean, no one's gonna do anything because they're not there to like hit you or anything, which you shouldn't do anyway if someone says something like mean to you, unless it's like, okay, if someone is really homophobic or really racist, I would hit them. But anyway, if you're just like disagreeing about something that Trump or Biden said, and you guys are like fighting about that, I think the reason we're so aggressive is because we were never taught how to talk about it. So I think that this gives all the people who are having children or who have children who are like getting to different ages, like teach them that you can talk about things that you disagree with people in a way that is civilized so that, you know, we don't continue this trend. And even people our age can relearn, because I know I've been divisive on the Facebook, you know, and there are better ways to handle it. I am the first one to say that. So that's what I believe is why it is so crazy online.
Yeah, I totally see that. And it's like I see this point of view where either people are so aggressive and one way about something, or if it's in person, maybe they won't get aggressive, but just shut off and they won't talk about it. And I'm like, that doesn't benefit anything either. If you're not going to have a discussion, like you might not agree with someone, but that's okay. Speak calmly, speak clearly. If you need to take a break, but try to get your point across, try to listen to the other person's point, and maybe you won't ever agree, but at least you've heard the other person's perspective and why they think that way.
And I think this show is starting that trend because, yes, every time they've been trapped in a car together, so like hitting the other person would not be beneficial because one of them is driving. But, and the cameras are rolling. Like, there are circumstances that make it so that it kind of is forced to be civilized. But hey, you got to see it to believe it in some cases. Not in everything, but I do think this applies. You know, people need role models to follow how to act about something.
Well, obviously, we're not seeing everything that they filmed because if they're there for a week, which I'm pretty sure their week is 5 days, you know, and they're filming, let's say 12-hour days, 12 times 5 is, well, something above
60.
50.
It's 60.
I can't do easy multiplication, okay? Um, Not inside this brain of mine. It don't work. I can do long math equations inside my head, but multiplication, simple adding, subtracting, my brain says, "What?" So 60 hours of footage they could have. And we're seeing what, 45 to an hour, 45 to 60 minutes of footage. So a tiny, tiny portion of everything. And so maybe there was even parts of the conversation that did get heated that they had to take out. You know, we don't know that. Or maybe, I mean, obviously it's still gonna probably be a highlight reel. Like the best of the moments are being shown, just like social media is a highlight reel. Well, Instagram especially is just like a highlight reel. Like people aren't gonna show them. They're not gonna go on their story being like, "Oh, this has been the worst day ever." I mean, some people might, but for the most part, you're seeing like, "Ooh, it's me on a yacht in Tahiti." Like, you know, like I can't say a lot of the people I follow are on a yacht in Tahiti. That's very unrelatable, but you get my point.
Yeah, and so I agree that that definitely could be the case, but it's still they're trying to show like what the world could be. And I just love them. They're so supportive, even when they're not with the person and they're watching the footage of like them picking out their clothes for the first time and getting ready all by themselves. Like they're like, yes, Tom, you picked the right shirt. Yes, like whatever they're doing. Like, I'll pick out the green stick. Like, oh, it's just so cute. And it's just so lovely to like for them to be honestly truly excited for their growth. And when they were leaving at the end and everyone was crying, oh my gosh, I literally was like, please tell me you're still friends. Please tell me you still talk, because my heart can't take it if Tom is no longer connected with you boys and all of you people.
I know, I agree. It's like, so please just stay friends. But I thought that the way it ended is good, and how you said that they're cheering Tom on, or whoever the person is that they've helped on. That shows something too. Like, you would think maybe sometimes the people would talk differently about the person if they're not there. And yes, I get that this is on TV, and maybe they say something if they weren't being recorded, but I think just showing the fact of how they are even when they're not with a person just like speaks to their character and how they are. And I love that Jonathan helps with the hair and face aspect of things, hair and skin, and Bobby helps make the place where the person lives feel at home, or in different episodes it might be not a house but someplace else related to where the person works or something. And Karomo helps with the relationships in his life, and Tan is like, I'm not gonna force you to be in some high-end fashion clothing. I just want you to maybe treat yourself better and see how certain types of clothing can make you feel a different type of way. And Anthony's like, hey, I know you like to go and eat at this restaurant, but let's try making a version at home. They make guacamole, homemade guacamole, and he's like, now you can make it at your own house and it tastes even better. And I just love that it's all these different aspects, and they work so well together. It's not even funny. Like, the chemistry between those five people, the Fab Five, is amazing. It's truly amazing.
They might as well be lifelong friends because they have better chemistry than some people that like I have been close to my whole life. It's amazing. I agree. Amazing is our word right now.
Honestly, I think that's all that I have to say about this episode. Do you have anything you want to add or anything like that, Rachel?
Can I say that is amazing one more time? That it's perfect? That it's heartwarming?
Oh, and in case we didn't say this, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that it was amazing.
And perfect. And lovely.
And amazing.
We were so on opposite spectrums. This podcast is such an emotional roller coaster. Like, people are going to be like listening to the first half and like, oh my gosh, these people are so negative. And then they'll get to the second part and we're like, crying of just love.
I love it. It's true. Very polar opposites. And I wish that I liked Schitt's Creek. I genuinely do. But I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie to you and say I liked it, because I didn't.
Yeah, we're not going to do that to you. But with that, I will run through our social handles and whatnot. So, first, if you want to email us at youtalkintomepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on the Instagram at youtalkintome.podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at youtalkintome11, because we're both number one. Hell yeah. If you want to watch us on YouTube and actually watch us this season, follow us there, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a single one of these. Okay, people. And then that might be it. Do we have anything else? If you need transcripts of the video, you can go to my website. Will be below. But also, Hannah does all of the subtitles, so they will be on the video as well on YouTube.
True. Yeah, and if you watch the video, you can watch how much we fidget. I'm a big fidgeter. I have ADHD. What can I say? Yeah, I hope you watch the video, because I feel like it could be entertaining to see the faces along with our voices.
Yeah, and I change my shirt for every podcast, okay? I'm making sure that I'm keeping it fresh for y'all, so don't make this a waste of my time. I have a spreadsheet.
And I don't care enough to do so. Yeah, she made a spreadsheet. If that doesn't tell you that we are both type A, I don't know what does. Okay.
All right. Do I exit the podcast? Yeah, I do. I remember. Okay. Thank you for listening. I'm Rachel.
I'm Hannah.
And this was the You Talking to Me podcast. Bye.
Bye.